Hi, folks. Welcome to our virtual orientation. My name is Suzette Remsen. I'm the Director of Campus Life, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you the rest of our team members who are here. So I'm going to introduce you to our Associate Director, David.
Hi everyone, glad to glad to see you all here. I'm Associate Director for the Office of Campus Life. My main role is with student clubs, and I hope to see you tomorrow as well.
Thank you. Thank you, David. And I want to introduce you to Victoria, who works very closely with our student government and with us in Campus Life. Victoria.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad that you guys are here.
Thank you, Victoria. And now for the person who is our main presenter, Emily Willen. Emily has been with us at Student Life for a little over, I think it's almost 4 or 5 years now. And we have had a pleasure to see Emily grow, and she's such an amazing student leader. And she just graduated with her graduate degree from Lehman College. Folks, if you are new to Lehman, it is our pleasure to welcome you, and hopefully this session will help you to be connected to resources. I also hope that this is not the only session that you will attend. We have 1,300 students registered for tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday. And so feel free to join us. We also have a resource fair on Thursday. We welcome you, and we are in the Student Life building. So if by some chance you can't make it during the in-person orientation, just feel free to stop by the Student Life building anytime. So without any further ado, I want to present Emily Willen, who will be leading this session.
Thank you so much, Suzette. I'm going to take a moment to share my screen. Pretty good. Okay, so welcome to Lehman College, everybody. My name is Emily Willen. I work at the Office of Campus Life, mostly as the leadership coordinator, but I also work with student government. And then outside of this office, I also work with the International Programs and Community Engagement Office, so study abroad and also volunteering outside of the campus. So really, if you have any questions surrounding any of these things, please feel free to ask. I want to encourage everybody to take notes during this session because I'm going to be giving a lot of information for basically any college student that you need in order to start at Lehman College. On that note, I'd love to also encourage everybody to put in the chat, put your name, whether you're a new student entering college or if you're a transfer student. And if you are a transfer student, what school are you coming from? And then also one word of how you're feeling about starting next week. And yeah, essentially this session is for you. Basically, if you have any questions, please feel free to, ask in the chat, raise your hand. We want to make sure that you have all the information you need to get you started. So on that note, yay, we're getting responses. Welcome. Awesome. Okay. So the agenda for today is kind of, what we're doing now, the welcome overview. Your account setup is basically, how you register for classes, how you actually log into the CUNY system, and also the MFA, the multi-factor authentication. It's a protection system that every student needs. And then other essential systems that you need, how to set up your Lehman email if you haven't already, troubleshooting that you may need. And then I'm also going to give some tips on, best practices for student as you're going through your academic degree, and then where to also access help, because we have a lot of resources on campus that are available for your help. And then Q&A. I see more people in the chat. Yay, welcome. Okay. This PowerPoint, by the way, will be shared with you, the link at the end, so don't feel pressured to take pictures of every screenshot. You'll have this at the very end. But again, I do encourage everybody to take notes because I'm giving more information than what's on these slides. So your account setup. Basically, this is logging into your CUNY login and then also your multi-factor authentication. Basically, if people don't know what that is, it's basically a protective measure that you download on your phone that basically ensures that hackers don't hack your account because it's ensuring that you are you, essentially. So we want to make sure that your information is protected. So every time you log into your CUNY login, your emails and whatnot, you'll have to use your multi-factor authentication app in order to access things. So this one login will actually help you access all of these different skills. And this is a lot of information, but you'll have your CUNY first. This is where you access your student account. And I'll go into detail of each one of these throughout this session. Schedule Builder is where you actually sign up for your classes. So if you're starting in the fall semester, you've probably seen this already. Degree Works is where you actually see what classes you've already taken. And also it shows you your GPA and whatnot. Brightspace is where you access your classes. And then you have Navigate if you want to schedule appointments, connect to different departments. It's one tool to actually connect with the offices. Your student email we'll talk a little bit in detail about because it's the one way that offices, departments, your professors, they all contact you. So it's really important that you check your student emails on a regular basis. And then Lehman 360. This is one way to access your digital campus ID cards. And I'll also talk about a little bit later how to get your physical ID card, which is what you use to get on campus, to get into certain buildings. And then also Lehman 360 is where you actually declare your major, which is what you'll need later on. You don't need to do that now. But these are all the applications that we use at Lehman College. So a lot of information to learn, but you'll get the hang of it as we continue. Any questions so far? Ooh, University of Iowa, welcome. That's amazing. So happy to have you. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the CUNY login. This is, again, where you log in to access certain applications. You'll have, I have it in the next screen, but basically it's, you use for first time usage, you'll have your first name dot last name, and then the end of your Emplid ID is where you'll have, it'll be your numbers, the two numbers, and then it'll be at login.cuny.edu. Your Emplid ID is something that you will get in your email when you first sign up through Lehman. Does everybody just put in the chat if you know your Emplid? Don't put your Emplid, but if you know your Emplid. Awesome. I see thumbs up. Great. Amazing. Okay, so everybody has your Emplid. So that is something that your Emplid ID is kind of like your gateway into, basically different aspects of your account. So whenever you are connecting to different offices on campus, you always, need to have your Emplid ID so they could actually look in the system and see like what you need in order to help you. So having your Emplid ID is something amazing to, memorize or have with you at all times when doing anything Lehman related. So the last two digits of your email is your Emplid ID, and then setting up your account, and you follow the prompts. Has everybody here set up their account? I know my sessions are more engaging. Okay. Yes, awesome. Okay, I'm seeing. Amazing. Okay. So my next section is also on the multi-factor authentication. How many people have set up their multi-factor authentication? Great. You guys are on a roll. I'm seeing thumbs up. Great. Awesome. Okay. One person. Haven't done it yet. All right, cool. So this is kind of the basics of what this looks like. You're going to download the Microsoft Authenticator because we use Microsoft Suite. And as a side note, which I'll kind of go in a little bit later too, as a Lehman student, you get access to Microsoft Suite. So you get Microsoft Word, you get Microsoft, the OneNotes, anything Microsoft, you get it for free, essentially, just being a student. So you download the authentication app, and then you visit the self-service. You basically scan the QR code, and then there's also a short video on instructions on how to do that. Again, you'll be getting this, so you could do this at your own time, your own pace after this session. So, but here's a breakdown of what to do. I'm going to draw your attention to this little, kind of paragraph at the end. Anything IT related, say you can't get into access to your classes, or you're having trouble getting into your email, or you're having trouble setting up this Microsoft authentication app. You want to go to the IT center, and you can access them through multiple different ways. You can call them, you could email them, you could go through the chat bot, which I'll also show you a little bit later how to do that. And you can visit them in person. So multiple ways. Anything IT related, contact IT. So any questions on this before moving on? And again, you can always put in the chat, be like, I don't understand what you're saying. Back up. Okay, moving on. So essential, that was basically the first part, account setup. Now essential systems through Lehman College. So once you have your CUNY login, you could access all these other different things. You can access CUNY First, Schedule Builder, DegreeWorks, and so on. So our student email. So all communications, as I mentioned, come through your student email. There is, I do want to bring up, sometimes there's a way to like forward your emails to your personal email. I do not recommend doing that because sometimes professors, they will not actually, respond to you unless it's coming from a student email for safety measures. So they only respond to students. So, just get into the habit of using your student email. And you do want to access this on a regular basis, because sometimes you'll get kind of like time sensitive information. So say, for example, you have a class that you have an outstanding balance and you need to pay it off, and they notify you through your email system. So if you don't know that, then you can't pay it off, and then they'll actually boot you from your class. So it's important to actually check your emails on an everyday basis. And I know there'll be a lot of emails, there'll be a lot of information. Some of it may not seem like it pertains to you, but it's really important that you actually read through it, because you never know what opportunities or information comes through that does pertain to you. Sometimes there'll be school student scholarships that are available through there. The cafeteria actually emails some like discounts and stuff through there. So, and then again, the typical like your professors and whatnot. You also, through your student email, you can access Microsoft 365 apps through there. So for example, you have OneNote, Word. This little black icon here is actually a breakdown of some of the apps that you'll have. So you'll have Outlook Calendar, so that you can, keep on a better schedule and things like that. PowerPoint is through here. These things here, I want to actually, this is a really handy tip that I like to use. When you have Microsoft Word, you can actually dictate you know, because we have a lot of papers, is fatigue. In Microsoft Word, there'll be this button called Dictate. And if you click it, your voice will actually go into writing. And you also have this through your email systems as well. So you can write your papers, you know, through the keyboard and also through voice. And then say you're having reading fatigue, there's also an option to read it out loud. So the Microsoft Word will actually read your text. So just some tips to have that you can utilize as you're, you know, going on with your classes. And then I recommend checking your Lehman email at least once a day, just to make sure you're on top of things, that you're not missing anything. Okay, so to access your student email, because it sounds like a lot of people have already been accessing some of these things, it's basically the same thing. It's your login email and to get into CUNY First, or your Lehman CUNY account. So Lehman, your first name, your last name, your EMPLID numbers, the last two at login.cuny.edu. I do want to point out that your student email will have this, it'll be at stu-mail.lehman.cuny.edu. And just another kind of like a tip, if you want to ensure that somebody is a faculty or staff member, it'll be at lehman.cuny.edu. That way you can differentiate if a student's emailing you or a staff member. And then, of course, use your login. And how to access this, I like to use one of the ways is if you're on the main Lehman page, you go to the students at the top and it'll have login to your student email. So you can access your email anytime. As you'll see throughout this presentation, I have QR codes, and these will actually bring you to the links where to sign in or how to access these pages. But again, I'll actually send this PowerPoint at the end of this session through this chat. All right, here's a bonus. If you don't already know, using your student email, you can actually sign up for a free New York Times subscription, which comes into great handiness when you're writing papers, because you'll have to cite things, you have to say where you got that information from. So New York Times is one of the more reliable news sources. So you actually get a free subscription, and you do that through the library. The library actually has it, so if you ever need to go there, and then you sign in. So it's visit New York Times, passes, use your Lehman email to actually sign in and get that access. I like to sign up for the free recipes. They have good recipes. Other things on the library, things that'll help you. And I highly encourage everybody to reach out to the library for more details of what the library can bring you. But with your CUNY credentials, you can actually access peer-reviewed journal articles. Again, citing things that are reliable sources for your classes, for your papers. I like to use JSTOR. They have a lot of great journal articles on there. And then you would sign in through the institution. So you would say Lehman College, and then you log in with your CUNY credentials. So you'd put all of your CUNY information in there and log in, and you can access all these great papers. You can also access through the Lehman Library through OneSearch. And here you would, you know, then get all of these great articles. All right, so CUNY First. Here's a quick breakdown of what CUNY First has to offer. Here you'll have your profile information. Any tasks or holds, you really want to pay attention to this because it'll have things that might block you from registering for your classes. You might have things that you might get booted from your classes if you don't do them, like paying an outstanding balance or registering for FAFSA or other things. So this is important to, you know, log in and make sure that you're kind of up to date with different things. We have other things like schedule builder. I'll be going over that more into detail. Course planning, financial account. You'll also have your transcript if you need to get access to your transcript to see your grades, and to send them to different like scholarship off, to apply for scholarships. Sometimes they'll ask you for internships for your transcript, and this is where you actually access it. So there's a lot of really good tools, and you could also access Brightspace, which I'll also go into detail through CUNY first. All right, so here is very quick tutorial on Schedule Builder. I have a basic intro of just how to add classes, but then there's a detailed one of how to drop and swap classes. So again, you'll be having this at the end of the presentation. So in the future, you might not need this now, but you might need this in the future of how do I swap a class? I don't know how to like drop things. So you'll have these videos available to you. And I see a message in the chat. No worries, we are recording this session. And at the end of the session, I will be giving out this PowerPoint presentation so you could kind of backtrack and follow. So no worries. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so on Schedule Builder.
Adding a course in Schedule Builder. Schedule Builder is where students go to register for classes in CUNY First. To add courses, start by logging into CUNY First at home.cunyfirst.cuny.edu. You can also access CUNY First by visiting the CUNY SPS website, sps.cuny.edu, and clicking on Current Students at the top right of the page. Under Logins, you will find CUNY First, where you can access the login page. Once you are in CUNY First, proceed to the Student Center and click on the Schedule Builder tile. Select the term in which you wish to enroll. In the Select Course field, type the course number, subject, course title, or instructor name and click Enter. You can also use the Advanced Search option to search for classes. If you click the downward arrow, you can view the class details, including its description and available sections. You can also click on the class details sliding button at the top for more information about a particular class section. When you have added all of your courses, select Get This Schedule at the bottom right side of the page. Your classes should be set to enroll, so you can proceed by clicking on Do Actions. You should see Enrolled next to all of your courses once you have successfully registered for them.
Okay, so that is essentially how to add your classes. And again, I have a more detailed one of how to drop classes, swap classes that you can look at your own time once I send out this PowerPoint at the end of this session. Okay, so DegreeWorks. DegreeWorks, again, is where you check your GPA. Sometimes you'll need your GPA if you're applying for internships. If you have a really good GPA, it's really good to put on your resume. Sometimes you'll need it in order to apply for certain things like Student Government Association, in order to apply for certain scholarships and whatnot. So it's always good to have your GPA. You could track your grades through here, and you can also track what classes you need to take in order to graduate. So this is I basically started Lehman College before we had DegreeWorks, and it was a nightmare, to be honest. Not having DegreeWorks, because you had to open up this big, large book and try to figure out what you needed to do in order to graduate. Because everybody's has a different track, what they're doing for their degrees. If you're in computer science, is way different than, say, for example, English majors. So you need to know exactly what classes you need to take. So this actually breaks it down very nicely as a nice guide of what you need to take. And so here I will share with you this video.
DegreeWorks and you. What you will learn in this course. How to log into DegreeWorks. How to read your DegreeWorks audit. Using the What If feature to plan out. DegreeWorks is an online advisement tool used by thousands of students and advisors every day. It's a great way to track your academic journey as it pulls information from your major and/or minor met requirements on CUNY First and lists them out like a checklist. DegreeWorks also works best with Firefox, so make sure you use the browser when navigating the system. Students can access DegreeWorks by clicking the DegreeWorks tile on the Student Center page of their CUNY First account. Students can also access DegreeWorks using the link provided on the lehman.edu logins page. The DegreeWorks audit provides you with the requirements that have been met and the courses needed to fulfill your remaining requirements. In this video, you will learn how to read the DegreeWorks audit, locating your major GPA, understanding residency requirements, differentiate between completed, pending, and incomplete requirements.
The Degree Requirements section lists requirements needed to complete a degree and is found right below the Degree Progress section. Requirement cards, previously known as blocks, will contain a list of requirements that you need to fulfill to complete that card. The symbol inside the checkbox will tell you the progress of each requirement. Completed requirements are noted by a green circle. Requirements in progress are noted by a blue half-filled circle. Requirements still needed are noted by an open red circle. Courses in the elective classes not allowed section do not meet your degree requirements. If you see currently registered courses falling into this section, it is essential that you reach out to your academic advisor. Courses in the insufficient grades section display any course with a failed or a W grade.
The What If feature allows you to project how completed courses will apply to a different major. In this video, you will learn how to access the What If feature, how to use the What If tool for forecasted desired majors or minors.
The What If feature allows you to ask DegreeWorks to display what it would be like if you changed your degree program. This feature displays the impact of these changes before you make them official. The What If audit will show how your previous coursework applies to the new program and which courses you would still need to complete. Check with an academic advisor for information on how changing your major would affect your progress toward your degree. The Future Classes displays whether courses you plan to take in the future will apply towards a particular program or not. What If audits cannot be saved. Therefore, it is best practice to print a copy of the audit to discuss with an advisor if you plan to change your program.
Thank you so much for completing our DegreeWorks learning module.
All right, awesome. So going back to our main slides. I do want to mention too, just more of tips. When they mentioned electives not being applied for your degree, there might be some special cases where you really want to take a class that might enhance your own education, that, is also great, for leadership building. So I say this as an example of, for example, for me, I did a study abroad program, and I did not need it in order to graduate. None of my classes really aligned with it, but it was something that I still really wanted to take, and that's something that I can actually talk about when I go on job interviews or things like that. So, and it actually shows, like, you know, building like cultural diversity and things like that, flexibility. Um, um, it really highlights, you know, additional things that will emphasize your academic degree. So, and then when they were going into at the end the what ifs. So just for example, you might have already taken some classes, like I know a lot of science majors. You'll have ABCs, which is pre-med. It's anthropology, biology, and chemistry. You'll have some prerequisites needed, like some chemistry courses. So if you already took a core curriculum that wasn't within chemistry and whatnot, you'll actually have to take that again. So playing with the what if can actually show you what core curriculum you need in order that will maybe go towards your actual major degree. Okay, so then moving on to the next thing. Speaking of different pathways, so you have different classes that you'll need to take in order to get your college degree, your bachelor's. It's broken down, and DegreeWorks shows you all of this, but sometimes it's nice to see it kind of laid out. So again, you'll have this QR code at the end of the session, and Victoria's putting a lot of these links in the chat as well if you want to open it up and pull it up to see as we're discussing it. But you'll need to take something, your general education requirements, and then also elective courses and your major concentrations. So it breaks it down into essentially how many classes that you need, how many credits you need in each of these sections. So like required courses, you need English, you need 2 English courses, you need basic mathematics, and then you'll also need a science life. And this is kind of what I was mentioning, like you might need, like, you know, especially in the STEM majors, you'll need, you know, chemistry and some of those basic ones. CLEP. Well, Victoria will respond to that. And then flexible courses. These are kind of more also well-rounded. You'll have some more like things like history within here, but that could range anywhere from Asian artifact history to anthropology to, you know, American history to, you know, whatnot. So you'll have different classes that you could take within this section, and then you'll have writing comprehensive courses and a foreign language. And then in addition to that, your college major courses. I want to bring this is very, very new to Lehman College, and it's amazing. I love it. This is through our Career Center, which I highly recommend everybody, you know, gets to know over their time at Lehman College. They're also available once you graduate. Alumni can still access these services, but they have a breakdown of what you should be concentrating on, because when you come to college, it's not just about getting that degree. It's actually preparing you for a career in your choice. So it actually breaks down what you need to concentrate on, not just your classes, but maybe you need to start connecting with, you know, scientific conferences that you can actually apply for. Maybe there's different clubs that you can actually join and align with that can actually reinforce some of those skills you'll be learning in your classes. And all of these things that you participate in can actually reinforce basically your skills and help you get that job that you do want. So I highly recommend everybody checking out the degree maps, which is very new, to also, you know, follow along with right from the beginning, because they have a really clear guidance of what you should be concentrating on throughout your degree. Okay, now we're pivoting over to Brightspace. So Brightspace is basically, you might get access to it next week. Usually they open it up early. And this is where all of your online classes, hybrid classes, even some in-person classes will actually have a bright space, so that you can access important information, your syllabus, which basically goes over when things are due, when textbooks that you'll need, reading assignments that you'll have to do by certain dates, and how to submit assignments. Sometimes they'll have tests through here. It is your access to basically any of the online format of learning at Lehman College. So I have a bunch of step-by-step guides of how to access it, how to download it. You can also download the Brightspace Pulse app, which goes directly to on your phone, and you can access it through there as well. Now, Navigate is another system where you can connect with basically any of your academic advisors, different offices. If you are registered with Student Disabilities Office, for example, you can actually access through here and make an appointment to schedule with them. And just connecting in general with various resources. You can also view your class schedule, any holds, things that you need in order for you to, basically be a successful student. So here I'll play this. I think this is the last video I have.
This is how you schedule an appointment with your success team using Lehman Navigate. First, you'll need to log in using your CUNY First credentials. On the left side menu, select Appointments. Click on My Team to see who is part of your team. Click on the name of the person you'd like to meet with. This next page allows you to select the service or services you are looking for. Once you select the service, click on Find Available Time. This page allows you to select the type of appointment you'd like and the date and time for the appointment. Advisors usually set availability 8 days in advance. If you do not see any available slots, check back another day. Once you select the date and time of the appointment, you'll be able to see the appointment details prior to scheduling the appointment. Click on Schedule to finalize your appointment. You can always go back and check your appointment details by clicking View Appointments. Make sure to follow any instructions provided by the advisor prior to the appointment. Download the Navigate Student app on your iPhone or Android device for easier access. For more information on scheduling appointments via Navigate, visit www.lehman.edu/navigate.
All right, so that's Navigate. And let me move this up a little bit. Any questions so far? Because I'm just kind of rolling through this with here's information. On that note, we will move on. Okay, campus Wi-Fi. You get free campus Wi-Fi at Lehman College. Here I have basically a breakdown. Again, you can access this while it's better to do this while you're on campus. But basically this is a breakdown step by step of how to connect to the Lehman Wi-Fi on campus, depending on also if you have, once you actually scan in this code, the QR code, it'll break it down by iPhone, Android, there's different steps for different tools that you have. So based on what you're using on campus, laptop, whatnot, there'll be different kind of instructions on how to actually connect to the Wi-Fi, but you get free Wi-Fi. There's also a new thing we call the EDU Roam, where as a CUNY student, you can access free Wi-Fi at any of the CUNY campuses. So we have students that are Lehman students, but they'll study at City College, for example, and you get the free Wi-Fi there as well. So this also has step-by-step on how to connect to their campus Wi-Fi, the CUNY-wide campuses. All right, Lehman 360. This is a great application that we have. You can also view your GPA there. This is where my go-to of where I wanted to actually access textbooks that were assigned for classes beforehand. So I do recommend, you know, if you have your classes and they have the textbooks, get it ahead of time, because sometimes professors will be actually having things right from that first week of, here's this assignment, read this, you know, chapter 1 to 5, and it's like, oh my goodness, I don't even have the book yet. Here is where you can access that. Okay, and then again, later on, once you're a sophomore, you will need to declare your major. You'll need to say, so it's good in the beginning of your college education to take those core requirement classes that we were talking about a little bit, like foreign language, English, math, and then you'll actually declare your major later on, whether that's nutrition or nursing or, you know, computers, business. You'll declare that, but you'll declare that through Lehman 360. So you have to put in the system, this is the major I'm taking that you plan to take. This is also where you apply for different scholarships. This is one way to apply for scholarships. For print materials, you can print things on campus through this, also through the library. You could go to the library and say, hey, I want to print this out. They can guide you, direct you to that. But going to scholarships, you go to My Apps within the Lehman 360, and you could apply for scholarships every semester. You can apply for parking if you're driving to campus. We have a student parking lot, and this is where you would actually apply for student parking. And again, this is where you access your digital campus ID and your library ID. So in order to take out books from the library, you'll need to access your library ID. In order to get on campus, you either need a physical ID or a digital ID in order to get on campus. So the digital ID just works just as well. All right, so campus access. We have different gates. Again, you will need your Lehman ID in order to get on campus. You'll also need it in certain buildings. There's the Apex, which is this first picture. This is where you access the gym. Essentially, we have a weight room. It's free for Lehman students. We have a pool. We have a sauna. We have sport equipment and whatnot, but you will need your ID in order to get into this building. We have the IT center. If you need to access things, you need your ID. We have the Office of Campus Life, which is basically where all the fun stuff is on campus. We have student government in this building. We have our leadership programs. They're free leadership programs available to you, which if you complete the programs, you get a free digital badge for your LinkedIn account. Really good on your resume to show that you have some sort of leadership training. We also have student clubs. Any type of club that you could think of that you want to join, we have it here. And if we don't have one, you can make one. So yeah, we have, and then also, again, to get onto campus, you need your ID card. So it's essential that you have your ID card whenever you're coming on campus. So as I mentioned, your digital ID card, you can access through Lehman 360. And then basically once you log in, you'll see this little blue icon here. That is basically your digital ID. And if you click that, it'll show your ID card digitally and you'll scan that in order to get into certain things. You can also get your physical campus ID. So here are different ways. You have to go to Schuster Hall. 079. During the scheduled post, they'll basically put a schedule of when they're going to be taking pictures. You also, new students, you need to bring another form of identification. So that would be like a driver's license or something like that to show your who you are. And you need to be enrolled in classes in order to get your physical ID. You can also upload your picture. There should have been an email sent out to you that invites you to upload an online photo. And it's sent to your student email. So if you haven't accessed your student email, it might be there. And then I have a QR code for the schedule, but I have it on the next page too. So here are all the dates that you can actually go to schedule your in-person physical ID card. So we have, starting tomorrow, they have from 10 to 2 and 3 to 5. They're there all day on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week. So if you're there for in-person new student orientation, you can actually go there and get your picture taken and get your physical ID. I do recommend having both. Yes, this is for the Lehman ID. I see a question in the chat. I want to mention another thing. I've been mentioning a lot of like access to, oh, perfect. Great. You already have one. Amazing. In addition to having your ID just to get on campus or to get in certain buildings, please remember, like, you can get a lot of perks from being a student. So this, for example, CUNY Arts actually has a nice page of breakdowns. You can get into free museums or discounted what's it called, Broadway shows and things like that. So utilize, I actually used, I didn't have my physical ID, but I actually had my digital ID. I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and I was like, let me try this. And I opened it up and they accepted it. So I got like super discounted tickets on that. So it doesn't have to be just New York museums. If you travel, you can utilize it. So I see a message. So this week you would use your mobile ID to enter and need to wait until the end of orientation to get your physical ID correct. So for this, yes, you'll need your, I believe actually, I don't think for new student orientation, you need your ID to get on campus. They're kind of assuming that people are coming in.
Yes, you don't need it. Emily, you're right. If they know, we've told public safety and they know that they're coming to the new student orientation and it's new students, so they should be okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So yes, so you don't need it tomorrow, but after tomorrow you will need it. But I do recommend after next week you have either gotten your the one on, you know, your physical one, and since you're on campus this week, you know, try to get your physical one because then you can knock that out. And then also your electronic one is a good backup option as well. Okay, so as we're wrapping up, we've got 10 minutes. I have a few other little tips here, but just readiness tips, things that can help you as you're going through school. So this is more of a recap, you know, start of college. Activate your CUNY login, set up your multi-factor authentication, access your student email, log into your CUNY first, make sure that you have no holds, other to-do items. Sometimes they'll ask you like for, you know, vaccination stuff. Make sure all of that stuff is submitted. Download any apps if you so choose, you know, Outlook on your phone, the Brightspace Pulse if you want to download that. Get your ID card, your Lehman ID, and then save important dates, important contacts. So IT help desk, public safety. I have this on a few other the future slides. And I see questions in the chat. Is there a certain time limit when the office leaves for printing. I can't even call due to summer hours. Victoria will look this up for you and put in the chat. But a good rule of thumb is just in general, if ever you need to look up the hours, you just look up, it'll be, everything's listed on the Lehman page, and summer hours are ending this week. So even if you contacted them last week, they might be more available this upcoming week. So you would Google the Leonard Leaf Library, Lehman College, office hours, or contact is usually within those fields. So if I don't have a digital ID, but I still wanted to get a physical one tomorrow, I could still enter normally. Yes, that is correct. And then how do I set up the Lehman CUNY account for mail and stuff? This was covered in the beginning of this workshop. I'm going to put the link for this PowerPoint in the slide, and you could go back. There's QR codes that it'll directly link essentially to all the pages, the websites that I discussed. And then where could I get my letter of attendance for scholarships? Can you be a little bit more specific with that, Natalie? For, you mean like your attendance for classes, or if you could give us more information, we could better direct. Okay.
I'm not sure about proof of attendance, but if you mean proof of enrollment, I think that's in CUNY first, if I'm not mistaken. But proof of attendance, I'm not really sure. If you really mean proof of attendance, that might be with your professor in like individual classes.
Yeah. And I do thank you, Victoria, for jumping in, because proof of enrollment is also something that scholarships usually ask for. And like Victoria mentioned, there are things that'll be in CUNY first. It'll show that you're an enrolled student, and you, a lot of times, like, you'll just need to print the screen, like a screenshot of it, and then send that to whatever scholarships that you are applying to. It'll say that you're an enrolled student. You're welcome. Okay, and then student readiness pre-semester checklist. So every semester, these are good tips to have. So make sure you can log in to the required systems, you know, a week, a day before your classes. I prefer way longer than a day, but you know, just to make sure that you can access your classes. Sometimes professors will give you access to syllabi beforehand, so it's good to be able to check that. And sometimes, you know, every semester we have the IT center. It requires you to change your password, so you want to make sure that you're actually able to access these essential systems before classes start. Locate your classrooms before the first day, or familiarize yourself, you know, with the course platforms on Brightspace. I'll show a map in a moment. I think it's in 3 slides of where your classes will be. Purchase textbooks early. As I mentioned, you can access this through CUNY first, but mostly Lehman 360. There's different ways to actually view what textbooks are required. This is one of my favorite tips. Add all important dates from your syllabus and also the academic school calendar to your personal calendar. It really does help you stay on top of what's due, so that, you know, we forget. There's other things in our lives. If we have it in our personal calendar, even though we have the syllabus, it's a great way to stay on top of things. So if you have due dates, I always put my, you know, what tests are due, you know, all in my calendar, so that it's equally, you know, even. And then the academic calendar has some interesting things. I have that on the next slide. I'll go into more detail on that. Ask questions if you're confused, and reach out before anything becomes a big issue, because we are here to help. We want to see you succeed. Okay, so then this is the next slide. This is the academic calendar. So even if you just Google, and the QR code on the previous page is actually goes to this slide. But these are all the important dates that you will need for any given semester. It tells you when things are due, last days to drop a class, last days to add a class, because this might affect your financial aid. when classes are not scheduled. Sometimes we'll have schedule shifts. So as you could see right off the bat here, September 11th to the 13th, we have no classes scheduled. If something says there's no classes scheduled, but it doesn't indicate that the college is closed, then offices are still open. So you could still come to school and go to the food pantry, for example. But if it does say college is closed, then that means the whole school is closed. There's no classes, there's no offices. So this is a great tool to have so that you know when things are closed, essentially. All right, where to find help. I've kind of mentioned a few of these places already, but IT help desk, if you ever need any, IT, if you have any IT issues with your email, accessing your, anything technical. We have Navigate 360. As I mentioned, this is for like academic advisement. It's for connecting to certain offices if you want to schedule virtual appointments or whatnot. We have the Help Hub, which is this flyer down here. And this usually helps you access your different accounts as well. They can actually help you get in touch with different departments and whatnot. So we have CAMP, which are the Student Commuter Assistant Mentor Program. They actually work at the Office of Campus Life in the Student Life building, which is that southern building at the end of campus. They are here to guide you. So if you have any questions related to anything Lehman related, just come to that building and we can help guide you to where you need to go. We also have the El Rayo chatbot. I mentioned we have a chatbot. So if you go on the Lehman College website, say, for example, you're on the financial aid page, you'll see this little thing at the bottom of the corner, this little mascot, El Rayo, and you can actually connect with a live agent. You want to put that in the chat, and that will connect you to somebody in that office. So it's an important tool that you can use if you need to connect somebody now, essentially. And then I do want to encourage everybody to save this public safety's information on their phone because you never know when you will need it. Public safety is there to help you. So if there's ever an emergency on campus of any kind, if you feel unsafe to get to, even to be walked to the train station, they can actually help assist you. Their emergency hotline, they're always available at Gate 5, which is on Goulden Avenue. They have a non-emergency line and then they have an emergency hotline. I do want to do one other tip is if there's a medical emergency, you want to call this number because when contacting like 911, for example, campus is big. They're not going to be able to find where they need to go to help somebody, or if there's a major emergency, safety emergency. So you always want to reach out to our public safety because they know how to direct. They'll actually connect with these other places as well to get people the help quicker than if you contacted. And we want you to call 911 as well, but contact public safety as a first line of defense. Because they're also trained in some of these things as well that can get help immediately. Okay, resources you'll want later. And I see we're hitting the time pretty quick. So if you can't stay a few minutes, amazing. If you can't, then we understand. But I'll try to race through these. And thank you, Victoria, for answering the questions in the chat in the meantime. Resources you'll want later. You never know what you're going to need later on, but we do have tons of resources to help guide you through your academic journey. We have a counseling center, and these are all free services for you. We have a wellness center, which also helps, facilitate like different workshops on, how to be savvy with money and, because that all creates emotional well-being and wellness. We have a basic needs center. If you, for example, are, food insecure, we have free groceries on campus that you could pick up every week. We have, they can help guide you to, like, say you're evicted, they can actually help guide you to apartments. And then we have the disabilities office. If you do have a registered disability, if you've been diagnosed with something, whether that's long-term or short-term, they can help guide you so that, support you so that you can actually succeed in your classes. We have the Office of Campus Life. As again, we help support, our main goal is to help build leadership qualities in students. And it's also the fun place on campus to go. So please stop by. Career exploration, I mentioned earlier, where they can actually help you, with, mock interviews and how to build your resume. We have the tutoring center, we have the library, which actually connects you to resources. There's so many different resources out there. And if you don't remember any of these, ask. Everybody we all know each other. We can help guide you to these different things. So, and then on the right side, we kind of have a breakdown a little bit that you go over in your spare time. I do want to mention disability service a little bit more, just because, again, you never know what you're going to need. Some people have a diagnosis. You had an IEP in high school. You have to go register with the Office of Disability in order to continue your accommodations. But say, for example, you break your foot and you can't get up the stairs to your class, you'll need an elevator key. Student Disability Services can help you with that. We've had students, across the line have health issues that come up, and they'll be able to help advocate for you in your classes of meeting your needs so that, it's just easier for you. So just something to keep in mind. And then honorable mention also, again, Office of Campus Life. We're the home base of students. So we have a fall programs that we have basically all of our things. Victoria, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about this while I get a drink.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I put in the chat. Let me see if it's the same link. So the Office of Campus Life, we created this booklet where you can see all of our events that are happening this semester. So for example, after new student orientation, right on the first day of classes, we're already having an event. So we're having free breakfast for all the students. That's, I think, at 10 a.m. The second day of classes, we're also offering free breakfast. Then on the same week, I think we're having the ice cream social. You can come get free ice cream and make new friends, meet new people. So we also have here the leadership workshops that we're going to be offering. We're going to be offering 4 different type of workshops. So you can find everything here in this booklet, like all of these events that I'm talking about. You can always stop by, get to socialize, meet new people, get to know a little bit more about the resources, and get some free food as well.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I really appreciate it. My voice was just like, no more. We're almost done though. So
Yeah.
thank you. So we'll end in like 2 minutes. So just really quick, another tip. If you need to find anybody, any of these departments or a faculty member, say you know the name of your professor, but you don't have their email address, you could go to the Lehman directory page, which is at when you sign in, when you actually go to the Lehman site, you go to directory and you could actually search academic departments or faculty teaching, and non-academic are all these other offices, the resources like the Office of Campus Life, the Basic Needs Center, the Food Bank, that all of those other places. So you can always be able to find places. Here is a quick map of the campus. So just to go through a bunch of stuff, you'll actually get a printout of this at New Student Orientation this week. We are going to be meeting in the music building for Tuesday and Wednesday. So that'll be your go-to place. A lot of our classes will be, you know, Carmen Home, whatnot. So, but you'll be able to see the breakdown of those places on this map. And again, I'm going to send this to you. You could see the accessible entrances as well, which are the electronic doors. If you can't open doors, we have an electronic door, and it shows you that on this map as well. All right, so going a little bit more into recap of orientation. So in person, you will go either Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we'll have another, our Resource Fair is going to be on Thursday. So here's all the information, which you'll have. Thank you. Victoria just put in the chat the link to the presentation slide she just put in, the Canva link. Please follow us on social media. Social media is where, if you look in our stories, we usually put opportunities. That could be community events. It could be scholarships. It could be programs. Anything that we feel that can benefit you, we're posting on here. We're also posting all of our upcoming events, how to join our leadership program. And then these are all the offices that, you know, are pretty active on social media. So we recommend following as many as you can. Say, for example, the tutoring one, the tutoring center, they post workshops. So it's good to, you know, just know that, you know, and you follow them. So, and then Lehman College has an official WhatsApp group. So if you scan this QR code, you can actually join the WhatsApp group chat. If you have any questions, if you're, you know, need help with anything, we have a bunch of administrators there and student leaders who are always willing to help. So this is just another way to stay connected if you so need help. I have a few other references for you to go through on your own time if you need more information of anything we discussed today. And again, thank you so much for joining this presentation. My apologies for going over. It's a lot of information, but I wanted to make sure that you guys had the most support to start your semester at Lehman College. Does anybody have any last minute questions, guidance that they need or whatnot?
Emily, thank you so much. You always do such a phenomenal job, and
Thank you.
I don't know why, but I'm always surprised at how much stuff you cover in this. Thank you very much, Emily. Victoria, thank you, and David too. We really appreciate it. And friends, thank you for joining us. You can tell there is a lot of information, and I really think attending orientation in person can, you know, it's a lot to take in. So this is a wonderful preparation. Emily, thank you. And folks, we are going to see you either tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. And we're looking forward. I'm trying to remember some of the names. And when you see me, my name is Suzanne. David is there. Victoria, we're all going to be at the orientation. So just come up and say hi. Okay. All right. Thank you, Emily. And
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and welcome to Lehman College.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. I'll see you all in person.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.